February 27th, 2018. It's about 55 degrees, or actually might be closer to 60. It's a beautiful sunny day out. Yesterday was beautiful like this too, but today is even a little warmer. And I've had some requests for another tour in the greenhouse. So let's do another tour in the greenhouse. Things are all doing good. The sunlight's starting to come back. Things are a bit of a disaster in here. I got to get in here in the next couple days or week or so and get some things cleared out. I think you can tell by all the parts boxes I've been working on the solar system a bit. But it's time to clean out and pull these barrels out and make some room in here for spring starts and get on with the season. March 1st is almost upon us. But let's just take a look through the greenhouse quick. You can see the lemon tree, and it's doing pretty good. And we got another lemon ripening on here and a couple more. On the Arctic Frost orange tree, we have some of our first flower blossoms coming on. That is really exciting to see. And on the mandarin tree, we have an explosion of blossoms. And these things smell even better than the lemon blossoms. I mean, these are just intoxicating smelling. They're just spectacular. I'll take you in for a nice close-up zoom. They just smell so wonderful, and you can see that we definitely got our trace mineral nutrition on, because they are just completely, every single branch is just loaded in flowers. I'm not even sure this tree can support that much fruit, but we'll see. Looks like it's sure going to make a try at it, so that's nice to see. I had somebody asking about the tomatoes, how they were doing, and they're doing pretty good. I hit them, I don't know, about a week and a half, actually probably more like 2 weeks ago. I hit them with some Accelerate from Advancing Eco Agriculture to prep them up for good flower and fruit production, give them complete trace mineral and hormonal nutritional support. I have been hitting them every week or so with the Advancing Eco Agriculture Micro Pack, which is the micronutrients pack. Just trying to keep things in balance and cranking. And they are flowering pretty well, and they're doing pretty good. And we even have some little baby tomatoes starting on here, which is encouraging. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I went to stake them up, and they were just so tangled together, I decided maybe I'd just let them flop out and do their thing, and then I'll probably go back in here with some twine and tie them up to the rafter sections here. Let's see, what else in the greenhouse? Mostly I've been working on the solar electric system in here. I've messed around with some different configurations on the power meters and a few other things. And I've added some DC fans in here for airflow. They're fairly low wattage fans. They're not huge in airflow, but they do stir the air around okay. And I've been monitoring the temperature chart logs. I shut off this main circulation fan that I usually use, and I'll show you where the other DC fan is. Right there. That one's a little bigger, moves a little more air. In fact, I can feel the breeze that's generating over here. So not bad. I think that took us from, I think it was around 4 watts or so. I think it was between 4 and 6 watts running just the Raspberry Pi, and now I think we're pulling about 11 watts continuous to run both the fans, the Raspberry Pi, and I moved the speaker and amplifier over to 12 volt because I got looking closer at it and I realized it had a 12 volt brick on it, so I just got rid of the brick and plugged it right into the panel here. I've done some configuration changes on the wattage meters here. I'll just give you a close-up on these quick. These meters are capable of bidirectional tracking. In other words, they can track current flow either direction. and they keep track of the battery charge state based on that. The thing I don't like is that they can't track power consumption at the same time they track charge input. So I've messed around with a few different configurations here, and I think I've come up with one that I like for now. I've got this one so it's set up so it actually tracks charge and discharge, and this other one I've got set up so it's tracking only power coming from the panel, so that way I can see how much power I'm putting into the battery bank. And you can see I actually I did this last configuration change last night, and I powered everything off and reset these meters completely so we'd have accurate statistics from last night on into today. So you can see that today we've charged about 24.2 amp hours or 343 watt hours. When I came out here around 11 o'clock or so this morning, this thing was pushing 75 or 80 watts coming in from the panel charging the bank, so that's spectacular. And you can see now that our system voltage is up at 14.74 on that side, and then where we're actually monitoring the battery side, it's sitting about 14.7. And you can see by this meter that we're actually still taking a net gain in charge here. We're charging about 5.88 watts or 0.4 amps. And it looks like according to the meter we've used 294.52 watt hours. I'm not sure, it's unclear to me whether that's the total watt hours used or whether that's the watt hours used minus the watt hours added through charging. But I'm going to continue to play around with these meters and figure out a best configuration for them. Worst case scenario, I may end up getting a third one and putting it in line for just the discharge side, so one could actually track battery state. One would track power coming in and one would track power going out. Ultimately, this power data all needs to come into the Pi database and be tracked in the database, and I'm looking at different techniques for doing that. I don't want to get too long-winded here, so I think I'm going to call it on that part of it. I don't think there's anything else too exciting in here right now. I am looking at how to ventilate the greenhouse this year automatically using the sensors in the Pi. I think I've settled on what I got to do. Now I got to figure out how to get some money together to do it. But I think I'm going to go with a linear 12-volt linear actuator, which is kind of like a hydraulic piston, except that it uses this screw gear and a motor. And I think I'm just going to do passive ventilation and make a large panel here that I'll be able to kick up and let the hot air right out of the top of the greenhouse. I looked at other options as far as fans and louvers and vents, and all of those options are pretty power consumptive. And now that I'm starting to switch everything over to solar, I want to be very careful not to burn up all my power on something I can do much more efficiently. So I think that's how we're going to do that. I think that pretty much covers everything in the greenhouse. I'm really looking forward to a rocking season this year. I've been doing some cleaning up in the barn and in the house and getting prepped up for a good season. So hopefully it will be. What else? I think that's it. Anyway, thanks for watching the Farmacy Seeds Network.